Tier 3 creatures. We have done all of them all at once in one big video, and then we are doing each and every single tier to narrow it down. We've already done the first two. We've also done a towns tier list as well, so check all of those out. They will all be linked in the description. Let me know down in the comments where you guys think I should have, or where you guys would place your own tier 3 units here. And do not forget, like, subscribe, and let us get started. I did put them in relative order here. Let's get started with the hunters. I think they're honestly one of the stronger entire units in the game, but definitely a very, very strong tier 3 unit. The amount of damage they can do is pretty unmatched with either upgraded choice that you do want to play with, especially, you know, with some luck involved there, or even the, you know, Master of the Hunt hero. There's definitely some creatures in the game that do benefit from having heroes that are essentially keen to them. But hunters definitely strong, high damage output. Only bad thing is they're a little weak if you get to them, or, you know, also from a distance, but the amount of damage they can do is very, very devastating. Then I gotta go with my ghosties. Minimum B here. But honestly, I think I'm gonna go like this. The biggest reason they are where they are, because I know that they are definitely not the most damaging units, especially as a tier 3, and they definitely don't really have that great a defense either. But we all know how scary it can be to go against ghosts. Have, you know, one of your carries, no matter who it is, try to attack the ghost and you fucking miss. Okay, it's brutal always going against ghosts because of the miss, and I believe this one also steals ammunition. I think that's what it does. It's something like that, something a little weird and funky. But still, while they are not the most damaging or the most defensive tier 3 units, the fact that there is a good chance that you can miss them on any attack is brutal, and I think they are very strong because of that. And I definitely don't think they're awful tier 3 units, but that is definitely what carries them to where they are, for me anyway. Cerberus, I'll put them in B and A. I think Cerberus itself, or the Hellhounds, if you will, starting, are very, very high damage. You can definitely cover a huge amount of ground, if not the entire battlefield, I think. But they definitely don't have a whole lot of defense. They're definitely pretty weak. But the damage output is definitely there. And once you get the upgraded Cerberus, whichever one you choose, they can hit multiple targets, which is very, very strong, very high damage to hit multiple units, and to essentially be able to reach almost anybody on the battlefield at any given moment is very devastating. So they're definitely very strong. Their biggest weakness is just their defense and lack of health points for sure. But very high damage output for sure. Very strong. Warmongers. Think we're gonna go. This one definitely deserves an A, but I don't know if I should put them in S or not. You know what? I will. So I just think they are super solid. I think the amount of damage they can do is good. I think the amount of defense and health points that they have is even better. Their biggest weakness is just the lack of movement speed, or initiative, if you will. It definitely takes them a long time to get to someone, but they have the defense to do it, and once you get to them, they can definitely be very devastating. And I think the biggest addition to that is the bloodlust that you get with Stronghold. I think they're a very strong tier 3 unit. I think they can minimum contest a lot of 1v1 fights no matter who they're fighting against. They can, hold it down until, they don't, essentially, or, hold it down for as long as you need them to. I would say they're very difficult to kill for a tier 3, and they can definitely do some devastating damage if they go unchecked for sure. While we go that, we are going to go to the Minotaurs. Biggest reason why stock Minotaur is there, honestly, is just because of the defense. I think they're pretty tough for a stock tier 3, but also they can do some pretty decent damage. I would say they're on the lower end of all the tier 3s, but defense is on the higher end of it. I truthfully don't remember what this upgraded Minotaur does, why he's so different. But what I do know from this Minotaur is the amount of devastation he can do. First, we'll start on the lower end of devastation, that they're pretty tough. Like I said, they're pretty high health pool for a tier 3 unit. But the amount of damage they can do, not only with the first hit, but if you retaliate or you get somebody to retaliate against you as a upgraded Minotaur guard here, your Minotaurs can attack again. So they attack, it says retaliate, yes, they're going to retaliate, and then the Minotaurs can attack again because they retaliated. So they can definitely deal out some very, very high amount of damage. And in a way, you almost want them to retaliate so you can hit them twice in essentially one turn. So that's also why it's so strong, because there's so much defense there already. So a high amount of damage output and a very strong amount of defense. I definitely think he deserves an S tier for a tier 3 unit as well. These bear riders, I don't think they're super good, honestly. I think they're probably one of the worst tier 3s in the game. They can do some decent damage, and they're kind of pretty hefty with the defense and health pool. But honestly, if you're playing Fortress, they are not going to be what wins you the game. They are the meat shields for your Rune Priests and your Thanes to wipe out the whole board, because that's really the only people on Fortress that are worth talking about. So yeah, I don't really think they're good. Their abilities with the bear aren't too great. I mean, you can, hit somebody away, which can be beneficial at times, and they definitely deserve a B, but at the very highest, they're an A, but not much more than that, to be honest. Then we got Golems here. I think Stock Golem deserves an B. Biggest reason why Stock Golem is B is because of the magic resistance, because he is an element. Well, not an element, but you know what I mean. He's just, I don't remember what they called him, actually. But yeah, he has magic resistance because he's not a living creature. Now the question is where we put these two guys. Minimum, they're going in A, but I almost want to put them into S because I do think that they're that devastating. They're pretty high with damage for a tier 3. I would say at least mid to high there. Defense, I think they're very good, and having the magic resistance built in. So yeah, I think I'm going to do one of these. forget exactly what this one does as well, because I always choose this one for whatever reason. It has to be something just based off player preference, I would imagine. But yeah, I think overall they are Minotaurs with magic resistance is the best way to explain them, really. Um, don't have the back retaliation that the Minotaurs do, but the magic resistance definitely makes up for that. I think they are pretty high damage, pretty high defense as well, and you know, having built-in magic resistance makes it very difficult to kill them. Um, so I think they're very strong tier 3 units. Oh, here we go with Footmen and Squires. Much like the Bear Riders, I just don't think they are very strong. Their attack is just not there. Unless you get the little bit of the ability that the Squire has, I think the Crusader has it as well. But the biggest thing that carries them even to B is just their defense. They are pretty tough for tier 3. I would say obviously most units in the game, they're either much more high damage or much more defensive, and then there's the ones that are very, you know, balanced in the middle of that. And these ones are definitely one of the more defensive units, definitely not a whole lot of damage output from them. But, you know, they can definitely meet shield for Haven for a little bit, let your, you know, archers do some damage and priests and whatnot, and be out there and hold it down a little bit. But honestly, to me, if I could choose some tier 3 units to have on my team, they are on the lower end of the choices for sure. But that is all the tier 3 units in Heroes of Might and Magic 5 Tribes of the East. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think, where you guys would place your favorite and least favorite tier 3 units. Don't forget, like, subscribe, check out my other tier list of all the creatures all at once, tier 1s only, tier 2s only, and we will be doing, obviously this is tier 3, we'll do each and every one, as well as the towns that I've already done as well, which I might redo honestly, because there's one that shouldn't be where they are. But we'll see you in the next one.